Hi, I'm Waddell Borg. And crazy times, right? Oh my God. I mean, there's just so much. It's palatable, just the stress and the anxiety, the fear, and the uncertainty. I know we're all feeling it. And it reminds me like about 32 years ago before I started making flutes. And and I was just in a really bad space. My whole world was falling apart. Everything around me was fine. I mean, everybody was doing great, unlike right now. We're all in the same boat. But I was just falling apart. I had lost my family. And I just lost everything. And I was about emotionally and physically. I was about this close to pushing a shopping cart. I mean, it was amazing. And my state of mind was just, in a really, really bad way. But the only friend that I had, and I'd lost a lot of connections with family and friends, just, I don't know, anyway, stuff happens. So, but the only real friend that I had left was my flute. And I had been given it about a year ago as a present, a year before that. And it became my best friend, my partner, my therapist, my healer. It just allowed me to have a few moments of just peace and just a different perspective of the darkness that was in my mind, in my head. It was just this negativity. And I just couldn't get out of it. It was like I'm in this tunnel that was just so dark, and there was no light in the end of it. And it was just, I had no more purpose in life. And when you don't have purpose, forget it. It's like, you just lose it. But the flute did really help me. Every day I was able to play a little bit, and it brought me just a little bit of, it just shifted my awareness, my consciousness. It shifted my moods a little bit, and it it brought a lot of joy to my life. And it also, over time, it's a whole nother story, but a good friend of mine, she said, hey, you love these things. Why don't you start making them? Or you got to do something, and something clicked. And so I started making flutes, and that completely took a little time, but it took me out of it. It took me out of that mindset, that real negativity. And the reason I'm telling you this story is because I kind of get that same feeling, except right now it's worldwide, and it's just that we have all this amazing amount of negativity every day. The news there's nothing positive. I mean, it's like every day is something else. It's just the media. It's just constantly we're just inundated with this amazing negativity and fear, and every day there's something new, and there's very little that we can say, oh yeah, it's uncertainty. We don't know what's happening. This is very new. We don't know what's going on. So I would encourage you, if you happen to have an instrument, a flute, a guitar, whatever it is, a drum, sit down, just make some time and play a little bit. If you're feeling really sad and you're concerned about your family, your friends, yourself, play that sadness, play that fear, that whatever the anxiety is that you have, put that into playing, and a little bit, you'll notice that it doesn't necessarily make it go away, but it shifts it. It shifts it into something a little more peaceful, a little more understanding, a little more acceptance, so that we don't have so much that constant, uncertainties. Like, so just to give us a little peace. So playing the flute, I really encourage you to do that. Play a little bit of music. Make some music. Just create a little bit of a song, even if it's just one or two notes. That's all that matters. It gets you it changes your consciousness. It changes your awareness, and it gets you out of that negative space, at least momentarily. And if you have a hobby, get on it. Make it happen. Working in the yard, anything that's creative. I know in the evenings I'm sick and tired of the whole television thing, because it's just one more thing. I don't want, I mean, obviously we need to be somewhat informed, but not inundated. And so in the evenings, I tend to make. I used to make a lot of jewelry, in the 70s, and so I still work on making some jewelry, and working on some bead work and that kind of thing. And that and I noticed when I'm focused in on that creative process, my entire awareness is shifted. And I feel satisfied afterwards. I kind of see what I've done. And the creative process, during the day, when I have time, I go out and work in the yard. I trim my trees. I sit and clean it up a little bit, feed the birds. Whatever it is that really gives you, what it is that gives you juice, that gives you energy, that gives you some satisfaction. And it's at these particular times when things are just like really out of control, it's like crazy stuff. There's a tendency to not remember that, not to remember who we are and what really gives us satisfaction and joy, because we get so caught up in that negative space, that depression, the just not knowing what's going to happen. It's almost like our whole brain is sort of like being juggled around and saying, no, you can't be happy right now. And I'm not saying we're going to be happy per se, but we can shift awareness. So I'm going to suggest that all of us make an effort to remember what it is that's brought us joy in the past, whether it's playing the flute, playing your guitar, playing a drum, playing music in general, just listening to good music that you absolutely love, because music is one of those things that really shifts the energy really fast. Working on your hobby, whatever it is that gives you some relief from the constant input of, just make that change. So my intention is that this too shall pass, but in the meanwhile, that we have a little bit of peace every day.